Now, talking about funky, this is a really cool guest, and I love what we're going to talk about.
Well, we said we were going to do something a little bit different. Not just events tonight, but we do sort of some local color, local personalities.
Well, you need to sometimes, right?
Yes. So do you want to introduce?
No, because I mess up names. And it's not to be rude, but I bastardize every name. It's not worth it.
That's a lovely way of putting it.
Oh, in a nice kind of way.
Steve Nicole, author.
Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, it's
You as
amazing.
well.
Pleased
Thank
to meet
you.
you, sir.
Thanks for joining us. Actually, do you
I am
want
going
to hold this up for the fellas?
I am
Who do
going to
we
hold this up.
If we can get one of our fellas. Steve is an actual author, which we're thrilled about. So welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on with your book. Is this your first?
Oh, it is my first. And it took a long time for me to finally get around to writing a book, because from 1979 to 1996, I basically was a world traveler. I took a bartending course in 1979.
That's what I was going to say. How did you even decide to be a bartender?
Well, that's the great thing. It's I had a lot of jobs between 18 and 20 years old. I think one year I had 25 jobs.
Oh,
and
boy.
I was a high school.
That's a resume.
Busy man.
I know. Very, very good for references. Yeah. But I got my high school, and at the time it was easy to get a job, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was a shipper receiver, a janitor. I took accounting courses, and trying to figure out everything. And one day in Montreal, where I was living, there was an ad in the paper for a bartending course at McGill University, and
That could be like a dream job, almost, kind of, sort of.
Well, yeah.
I'm hoping it wasn't the 4-year program.
No. But I thought, well, you know what? I like to have a drink, and that was probably a good reason. But also, as well, it was a chance to go to university. And
Sure.
Why
now
not?
when people say,
Sure.
"Have you ever been to university?"
You can say yes.
I took a bartending course there. So it was about 5 weeks
Conversation
long.
starter.
It was about
Good.
5 weeks long, and it was like $48, and it was every Thursday for 3 hours. And the bartender teacher would make a drink. We'd write down the recipe, and he'd give us each a straw, and we'd take a sip out of the drink. And
Could you imagine?
And we just passed, the whole 3 hours was like that.
And then they drive home.
Well, I took the subway, so
Explains so much
he's
about
good.
the 70s.
He took the
Exactly.
subway, people.
yeah. So anyway, during the course, I met somebody who owned a bar, and at the time, I did find a bar boy job in the Jupiter Discotheque in the Hilton Dorval Airport in Montreal.
Wow.
And I was really enjoying it. Like it was busy. It was like 3 a.m, and it was better than driving truck or putting stuff on a
And
shelf.
you were young.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I was only 20.
Sure.
I was only 20, and so I said, yeah, sure, give me a shot. He asked me, and he said, well, he gave me his card, give me a call in a couple of weeks, and I gave him a call in less than that, and he said, okay, come on down Monday night, next Monday, give it a whirl, see if you like it. And I thought that's a great opportunity to see, and
For sure.
without quitting my job or anything. And I went there, and it was happy hour, and it was between 5 and 7, and it was 2-for-1 beers. And it was a really nice place. Actually, I'd gone there a few times before as a customer, but now standing behind the bar was quite a thrill. And a couple guys got sick over there, and a fight broke out over there. And the guy was really worried about how I take it. Oh, geez, Steve, this never happens here. And I said, yeah, well, it's okay, And I spent a few hours there. And then he says, well, how do you like it? And I says, great. He says, well, do you want a job? I said, yeah, great. So I quit my job, gave him my notice, and I started at this bar. And it didn't work out too well because he didn't tell me he was selling it. So the next week I went into work. There was different managers. They didn't know who I was. And,
Oh my God.
They made me a waiter. I didn't know what the menu was. And
Oh my God.
then a couple of days later, he said, well, this isn't going to work out. So I said, okay. And my French wasn't very good in Montreal. It was outside of the city where I was working. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to come back to, my mother and stepfather were living in Brampton at the time. I said, well, I'll go back to Brampton. Actually, it wasn't it's very confusing. That's why you have to read the book, because from that moment on, I just went from job to job. And one person, and how I got the title, You Only Live Once, people say, well, it's a good acronym because YOLO.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's
you
when I
put
first
your
seen it
hashtag
too.
YOLO.
Right.
and
For sure.
I never really thought about it because as like that, because when I was about 18, 19, I had a few friends, and one of their motto was, you only live once. You only go around this world once, Steve. So, take advantage of any chance you get to travel or do anything you like. And I thought this is a great opportunity to travel, and I did.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you, because you've been to some amazing places.
Oh, for sure. I was, now what happened was when I took the course, I came back to Toronto, Brampton, and I ended up working in the Airport Road, the Bristol Place Hotel and Holiday Inns and that. And then I ended up working in downtown Toronto for a little bit in some private clubs. And then 1981, the recession hit, and so the job sort of dried up. And so I said, well, I'm going to go and try something different. And I ended up working out in Alberta, in the Rockies, for a summer. Then I came back to Montreal, and I was a bar manager in a private club. And then I said, well, I took a hotel, motel, restaurant management course at the time at home. And I said, well, I'm going to try something different. And if you remember the Love Boat,
Yes.
well, everyone remembers the Love Boat, and at that time it was on TV. I thought, well,
See,
geez,
I could go on that.
Yeah, I would like to, maybe try to work on a cruise ship. And so I sent my resumes away to Miami, and
That's exciting
Yeah.
for a young person
Yeah.
to go on a boat.
Yes.
And you're just going to have a blast anyway.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Because, you're a bartender. How much, and beautiful women, and how much, you have to have a blast.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you too, what about famous people?
well, yeah. Now on that particular ship, I worked on the 1986 SS Norway. It was the biggest cruise ship in the world.
In the world.
And on that ship at
I
the
love
time,
it.
now there's huge.
Yeah.
But at the time there, I served the mamas and papas.
Oh, wow.
Now that was after Mama Cass, but the
Yeah.
neat thing about that, and I say it in the book, the last night of their cruise, I was up in their cabin and they were playing the guitar, and
Get
we were
on.
having a sing along with.
You can't
How
beat
great
that.
would that
it's
be?
Well, that's
great.
what I'm saying.
It's
You're so young.
fantastic.
And then it's not until you get a little bit older you realize, wow, hold
Yeah.
on a minute.
How close you were to
And then
history.
what-
That's a big deal.
Yes.
And then what happened after that, and that's the crazy thing about this book, is it's constant. Like one chapter leads into another one, because everything was a new experience. I ended up back in Montreal, took a French course, because I thought I settled in Montreal. I was 27 at the time.
Right.
And I thought, geez, what I'm going to do, I'll settle down. And, I met somebody during the course who said there's exchanges between Canada and Switzerland. So why don't you try
I'd
that?
be there.
Yeah.
So, you have the course, you're learning the language, so why not apply? So I said, well, this sounds pretty good. So I applied, and the Canadian government, the guy said, well, nobody ever really, just because you're in an exchange, you're better to do the job hunt on your own. Because, they put your name in the paper there, and nobody hires you.
Right.
So I sent 50 resumes out to the French part of Switzerland.
And I would be putting the mama and papas on that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a great reference.
And then one answered yes. And so the following 2 years I was in Switzerland working
And it
in,
only takes that one, just
one-
a
yeah, just
word,
one.
yes, and you're gone.
Yeah, and then I liked Europe so much because I was traveling around when I was in Switzerland.
love,
You're in the center
yes.
of Europe. And then I came back home, and I said, I really want to, because my work visas had ended in Switzerland, I said, I really want to go back, but I found I could work in England because I had my grandparents were born in England.
Yeah, and you can get
So you can get
yeah.
a UK grandparent visa, which entitles you to go there. So I went there and I worked there.
You traveled.
And then I came back broke. There was a lot of times I didn't have any money. I mean, it's,
But that's the fun part.
you
yeah,
learn
that
the
was the
tricks
fun
of
part.
that.
You learn how to manage.
Now, we were saying on the back of the book, there's a picture of
Yeah.
you and your family, and you were
Yes.
saying
I
that
don't
was
know if we can get-
Iceland.
That's Iceland.
Yeah.
That's
And
spectacular looking.
it is. It's the smallest church in Iceland, actually. It goes back about 1,000 years.
That's incredible.
The book ends in 1996 because I was working on the Renaissance cruises at the time as a maitre d'. And I was traveling around the Mediterranean and Asia and India and stuff like that. And my wife, we crossed paths a couple times because she worked as a stewardess.
Right.
And then third time lucky, we
Yeah.
crossed paths and then fell in love. And 6 months later, we were married. I was had a room in Victoria, BC.
Wow.
So then this book ends in 1996. I have to write another book because you know, from 96 to 2003, I probably had more jobs than what was in this book. It was amazing. That was really, I have to sort that out in my mind.
So what made you want to write a book?
Well, because of all the varied experiences I've had, the message I'm getting from having written the book from a lot of people is that take a risk. You know, don't hold back.
I agree with you.
You gotta, you know, don't let fear
Rule your life.
Yes, and don't let the outcome worry you, because what's the worst that could happen? If you know, in this book, you're going to see things that didn't work out for me. Well, you just pick up and move on.
Carry on.
You don't look back. You look forward.
So that's your message, really.
That's,
I mean,
that's absolutely the message in this book.
Is it a biography? Is that the right way to putting it?
Yeah, autobiography.
Biographical.
Yeah, memoir.
But that really is the message, that you only live once.
Yeah,
Well,
and, you know,
it is,
I
and
talk
that's-
about failed relationships I had, that, you know, the girl I liked was liked by someone more better, or for her, and, you know, eventually, you know, you just move
Things
on.
work
And
out.
you keep an open mind, and you travel, and you see the world, you talk to different people.
And
Wonderful.
appreciate what you have.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, we've only got about a minute left, but why don't you tell us, for the people in the community that want to pick up a copy, where do they
Yes, Booklore. Absolutely.
Over on
Booklore,
First,
yeah.
okay?
They're great for that.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
are. Nancy's
we-
very supportive.
I
She
was-
just celebrated her 25th anniversary.
I remember that, and I have to say too, even myself, I could never write a book. So here's to you, because it wouldn't be. It's not something I could do. But actually, one of the young girls at our school wrote a book too, and very supportive. So I love Booklore. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And another thing is, too, they can go to my website, which is myname.com.
And we're going to show that up
Yeah, we will.
at the
We'll
end
get
of the
that up
segment
for
as
you,
well,
too.
too, for people who want to pop
email
in.
me, and I'll bring you a book over, and I'll autograph it.
Yep.
Can't get better
There
than
you
that.
go.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And that went way too fast for me.
Yes.
But-
Well, we thank you very much for
Yes, and
coming. I
good
think
luck,
it's.
sir.
I always feel like I'm touching something a little magical when somebody
go.
has the perseverance and ability to put together a whole
I was gonna
story
say,
like
I
that in
couldn't
a
even
book
fathom
and put
doing
it out
that.
to the world. I think
Yeah.
that's marvelous.
Very
I'm
cool.
Well, it's been
glad
my
we got
pleasure.
a
Thanks
chance
for
to
having
meet,
me.
and good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
look
Thank
forward
you.
to volume
All right.
2.
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
for sure. And
The
you have to
next
come
10
back.
years, the next 20 years.
There you
so
go.
Yes.
Gotta come
wonderful.
back.
Stick around. We'll be right back. We've got more guests.
We
Thanks.
do.
Oh, that was great. That
Thank
was
you.
good.